Y'all come on in the room, man. Come on in the room. Welcome. Back ready to get started, ladies and gentlemen. And today, we're just going to be talking about how uh, all right, we're up. Uh, First thing we're going to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, today's discussion topic is how there is nothing to do unto the and I'm streaming through the services, so you guys are going back and forth. Uh, to together. So those of you who are watching from here is on the podcast. There. So, but what I want to get into today, there is nothing to do under, and a lot of times, social media influencer for a person who is an advisor or coach or whatever you might be. The information, but I what in the world? Oh, I don't know. The information that put out there, not the information that we put out that is around the country. As long as we in we put out. I don't have to put filter on it. Not supposed to be. So you guys, I not supposed to have that. I don't know how that popped up, but it's a show bus. So what we're going to be talking about next, uh, we're just going to be talking about how the information that's out there is nothing else. Right. So a lot of times uh, it's new to you, and 98% is going to sound so fantastic and so unrealistic that even in your midnight, you're going to say, no, that's not. No, that sounds like. No, that sounds like uh, uh, somebody trying to get over. Let them now. I'm one of those. I'm one of those. I'm one of those. Why I'm one of those info clubs. That's why I coined the term info club. I plug you guys with information you need to help you a little bit more successful. I don't want anybody to take the word. I want you to grab the information and go research, look it up. Now, after you research and it matches up actually with what I was told, then you know that what I this will give me credit. And I'm not a know-it-all. I'm just one of those people that had an opportunity to learn from very successful uh, business owners and entrepreneurs. A lot of you have lost the product. Anytime you go to Walmart and see that casino, uh, you bought product from the person who advised. If you bought my first book, I don't like name dropping because there's no be name dropping. It's no different than being on the street dropping names on some people. It's the information. When the information matches up with what I've been given, then you know that it helps my lens or my credibility. in short, I'm a person who can come to get information. I'm a person who can ask questions because for the longest time, even in my own personal testimony, real quick, I said it. I thought I since 19, thought I started a business. Now this is where lack of information hurt. From 1995 until 2008, I never. I thought that because I had this life that I was not going. I never was an LLC. Nobody ever told me about it. Nobody ever told me about how to go about investment. By me just having the business life, there's a lot of people that's out there uh, doing the same thing that I did. Went to the local city hall, you went to the local courthouse, got a little blue paper and green paper, whatever color your state, hung that up. That just said that can operate, but not information. Now, I believe a lot of people who have business in my city, Alabama, a lot of black business and business local. However, either they didn't know or they didn't. Why? What? No, because my leather business, this is my first business, and this is where I am now. My first business had nothing to do with their, be it barbershop, restaurant, clothing store, hair salon, nail shop. You're not even in the same place. But anyway, when I started to learn how to really actually run a business, how to create, start a business, this is when I became a starter. Ladies and gentlemen, there is enough money for all of us. I don't care how many people are in. First, let me say this. There's no such thing. There's no such. And I'm gonna tell you why there's no such thing as overcrowding because there's no one. Nobody can do it. Like I don't care how many clothes stores are in your city or in your area. Your taste is different from everybody else's. Now, if you're putting up the same things like everybody else, then yeah, what makes a difference? This is why in this social media world that we're in, and that's been out there for 19 years, the one common denominator spread across all social media platforms is to be your authentic, be you, because nobody is you, and that is what will make your business. Not knocking nobody. You don't have to. You don't have to put. You don't have to any of that tomfoolery. All you have to do is just be you. Now let's get to the information. Why the knowledge is always knowledge is always not, especially as it business. We just didn't know where it was. One, we never knew what questions to ask. Now I want everybody to think because from the time that you were born and start coming to an age of understanding what you are seeing in the world, the majority of us always thought was parents work. That's all we ever thought. Now we're told that we can do, be, and go anywhere we want to go, do what we want to do, be whoever we want to be. But how can you when you don't have to do it? And everything that you see in your life, in your circumference, in your surroundings, in your upbringing is mama and dad. Always the only thing they talk about is gotta dad, you don't watch the football game. I think I gotta do it. Dad, you don't watch the cheerleading. Or mama, you come watch me cheer at cheerleading practice. I can't have it. So that's indoctrinated in our brain from the age of understanding. So when we grow up, we're already indoctrinated with we gotta get a job, we gotta get. So the question never comes up. How can I do? You guys can do this in your own time and go small business. I put this in my section. You can go to any kindergarten in your area, anyone, and get access to the program. You know, all that stuff. Go in there and at least 5 to 10 what do they want to be when they grow up? Now, I bet you $1 to a dime. Each one of those children is going to say the same thing, with the exception of a rapper, basketball player, football player, some form of athlete. But they're all going to give you a title of a job, even a good job. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a pilot. At least all of them job. That's wrong. Most likely, our parents didn't have the knowledge to do it. Some of us are less fortunate enough to have parents who had their own small business, but giving us the game on how to do that, or bringing us up into the business, learning the business route. I love going to Asian stores, Hispanic stores, and at first it's funny to see that little bitty child standing up in the chair behind the counter. And you know, they got their little suit on, a little outfit on, and I used to be like, oh, but actually, what those folks do, they were teaching their children business from ground up. Now, regardless of what your belief preference is, I'm just going to give that example because the majority of the world, especially in the United States, is Christian. So, some point in time, we've all heard or been to a church somewhere. The book called Bible raise them up in the way that they should go. That they should. And when they're old, they won't part of it. Now, Christian theology or is led to make people believe that raise them up in the church or raise them up in the Bible. Yeah, that's good. But if you cannot quantify or magnify the book called Bible, every facet of life, your hands up. Most people, well, especially here in the United States, we don't raise our children up the way we should. Meaning, we are the parents. We know the way. But the majority of us, we still let our children lead them to their own thoughts. That's dangerous. Why is that dangerous? All of us as adults have been 2, 3, 4, 10, 15, 20. We've all been those age already. I'm 51. My daughter has seen a lot more. I know a lot more. I know what not. So if I don't rate them up based off of the information and experience let them go through all. Now, there's nothing wrong with that because that's all they. But at some point in time, we have to start thinking back. We have to start thinking more. Because if you go to the private school on the other side of town, not the public school, the private school, that's $20,000 a year. I was going to put my daughter in private. I was like, hey, she ain't going to Harvard. She's trying to finish her senior year. But 20 grand. But anyway, you can go to the other school and ask those same children, ask those children, say, and watch the answer change. Some are going to say doctor, lawyer, because their parents, no job. But then you're going to see a change in some of them because they're. I'm going to own my own car. I'm on my business. I'm going to own this because this is where we differ and where the information difference for it. Now, in 2025, there is nobody holding you back. This is not 1960, not 1965, not 1950, not it's not 70, it's not 15. And you want to know why I think there's nobody holding us back? It's because we can read. At one point in time in the history of this country, they didn't want us, especially people of color, or this immigrant or non-Caucasian. Now, this ain't race based. Anybody that knows, I don't think of race. This is not about politics. Anybody that knows, bring conversations that I would never talk. Race, religion, politics. Now, when I speak on religion, I speak on something that has broad, because again, the majority of us that was brought into this country was brought up. Now, regardless of what you practice or what you believe now, that teaching or that indoctrination, but there is nobody back in 2025. This is why I say, Mr. Farrakhan said one time that the best place to hide out, and I'm going to add, about education is in a book. Why is that? We don't want to read. We don't want to read. So the information that I put out here on social media platforms and the internet, it all can be found in a book. Knowledge is free. In every city, every town, I don't care how small it is, how big it is, every city in this country, if not a library, got book land, book pavilion, hell, every book that's ever been written can be found on Amazon. So when I started coaching some clients or advising some clients on how to set up their business, a lot of them didn't even know that you do not LLC your business in the state that you live in. I mean, that took me to find out. Because even those that knew about LLC in their business, they thought that they had the LLC business in the state that they live in. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you why that you are not a citizen of the state. You're not a citizen of the city. citizen of the United States, which means you can LLC in any other region or plus 14 U.S. territories. Any territory or every Puerto Rico. If you want to put an LLC in Puerto Rico and you live in Massachusetts, do it. And, a lot of people on social media, especially when they talk about LLC business, they want to name the business, which I call that Wyoming, Delaware, also for Nevada, and the other one is Wyoming, Wyoming, Delaware. Yes, Wyoming, Delaware, or Nevada. Now, those three things, you know, they have their own government body that is over. A lot of Fortune 500, they will LLC or incorporate those states. Now, there is a benefit, but if you're going to LLC in those states, you can get ready to top up $800 to $1,000. Now, a lot of Fortune 500, a lot of 100, Fortune 100 go in there because of the way that the governing body is set up. If anybody tries to sue, oh man, I'm going to sit them down deep rabbit before they can find out who owns it. If they can pierce the corporate veil. The only one who can pierce the corporate veil is the federal judge. So if somebody's doing nope, but now there are ways how you can do that without LLC in those particular free states. And this is when you start hearing people talking about labeling the LLC. Most social media influencers or coaches or advisors will tell you to do it five times. I tell my clients to do it five. You LLC 5 different times. When Joe Biden, up until Joe Biden was president, we used to create an LLC anonymous. Yeah. You didn't have to put your name in anything. So if anybody tried to sue you, and this was all legal, anybody tried to sue you, they would never know who owned it. And the way the wealthy people play the game, they will sweat you out until you run out of money. That's part of it. By the time you run out of money, you can't pay your lawyer no more because if you are in a lawsuit, you have to keep paying that until the court or the jury renders a decision. So this is why wealthy people would continue. They just sweat you out, running you out. And then if they are going to get a deal, it's going to be so low, and you're going to be so wore out, being dissatisfied. Most people would take the deal. We've all seen that happen. But this is how business happens. So, but now, when Joe Biden became president, he stopped it, and the Democrats stopped it. And they basically put out front, this is to protect child trafficking or wealthy people trying to hide from divorce letters or from lawsuits, whatever. So then they came out with this financial report or a OI. Anytime you create a business now, even if you have it, y'all have to because they find yeah, up to $10,000 and the business. if you didn't fill out. For those of us who are honest business, that's the worst thing they could ever do because it basically it just didn't pull back. It tore it down. It tore it down. The first time Donald Trump was in office, and not picking on Democrats, but the first time Trump was in office, he cut out anybody having businesses or overseas. So you couldn't even hide money offshore anymore with Donald Trump. First time he removed it. Now again, this is information that people who want to have their own business know if you want to start a business. Now, when Trump came back in office, well, let me say this first, because there was another thing that was weird to my client when I first started coaching. Back in the day, we called this buy free. Most regular. Man, how can I buy? Well, information. Like George Bush Jr. when he was the president, his dad was a proud. No, George Bush implemented this thing where if your vehicle was a company vehicle and it was used for 50%, at least 50% of the business, $6,000, you got 100% tax free. One. Now, I want you guys, if you open up, go back down memory lane to George Bush Jr. This is when we start seeing people, especially wealthy, driving the big Suburban, the G-Wagon, real popular in the 2000s. Range Rover, real popular. Every rapper that was talking about pushing the brand. This, ladies and gentlemen, was not about showcasing your money. This was about it met the criteria to become a free car. Because, and then here's the thing, there is a certain time we as business owners buy. We only buy cars from September to December. You will never see a wealthy person or anyone who knows how to play the game. You will never see us buying cars from Canterbury, or any. I'm going to tell you why. But if you notice, your regular W2 workers, they always upgrade cars. When that's the worst time. One, all of the new vehicles and inventory starts coming in month of November and December. I don't know if you guys heard of the term 2025. That's because that car came out in November and December, but it's actually a 2026. They just released it. But your average worker, they find this car to be as a business owner, the way we play this game, we buy the car from September to December because one, we only got to make that car note 3 to 4 months. That's all we do, 3 to 4 months. Because when the tax season rolls around for businesses, now we get 100% bonus appreciation on that car and right 100% of the value. This is value. Some of y'all This is why we call it hard. Now, here's something else. You never buy a personal use. When you put any type of materialistic liability under your name, whatever you spend, your money don't move. Your money does not move on whatever you spend. So let's just say you bought your dream. You got eight, five fully loaded, and it's under your name. Anything happens to that car, first of all, the car is under your name. So that title's coming back. You did good. It's your money. But check this out. The tag under your name. You don't get the down payment back. You don't get your monthly payment back. You don't get the tag payment back. Your insurance is spending money every month. And nothing is coming back. The gas that you're putting into that car, it's gone. The oil, tire, God forbid you have any problem with the mechanic and gotta go in the shop. All that's coming out. And it don't come back to you, but you look good. But if this business brother, the car belongs to the business. It's a company car. The title comes back to the business. The tag, the business, insurance, any type of maintenance that goes after that does that. Business record. Then here's y'all ready? All all. Any money that I spend, it comes back. I can drive it just like you drive yours. And I'm not sweating or trying to work a whole bunch of overtime or trying to do more work in my business to try to make that payment every month. Oh, one, I'm not going to be making the payment 4 months. September, December, don't when I bought it. Next year, when that year rolls around, 100%. Now, Bible doesn't. Bible brought that all the way down to 60. Oh, it's on the even though 60% is still the 50 right on. So if you bought $100,000 anyway, you get the bonus appreciate 60,000, but you still got to pay $40,000 on it because you can only bonus appreciate one. So when Trump came back, it's information. So when Trump came back, brought back 100% appreciation. So when you see wealthy people driving these big body cars or these big bags, and it just doesn't apply at all. Yeah, go do houses. And the part that confuses a lot of people is that's your point. Well, certain circles that mean so. That's, oh, now I'm not as wealthy as some of the people that I'm but I don't own it, and it's legal. There is nothing in the law that says you have to own something. That's what's taught from generation to generation. Put your name. Well, if you put your name on something, hold up, just export that work. You get taxed. You know every year. You're paying you're getting taxed on your insurance. You're getting taxed to put gas, getting taxed to put oil. That's because most of us never even knew that it was possible to be in control of something, but don't own it. The worst position you can be in as an American is to own something. When you own it, pay tax. When you earn it, pay tax. Even on your job, when you get a check, you're taxed before you. Then and it goes into a bank account that is earned income because your name is earned. The IRS knows. This is why the big push was for automatic direct going. It ain't no way in the world to say, I remember direct wasn't the same 20 years ago. They gave you a paper check in your hand on Friday. Some of them didn't give you your check until the last hour of shit. Just to make sure you showed up. And we'll go all kind of places. Yeah, place came business during that time. Checking man's place. Oh, we made them rich. They was even casting for 14. But now the big push is direct deposit. So now you can't not get earned. In this game, ladies and gentlemen, and I know you guys have heard this before. I think you don't want to own, you want to control. That's my company vehicle. My name is only on the authorized driver. That's it. You can't find a bank account in America that has my government name. Why? Because then I'm telling the IRS, that's earned income for me. No, there is nothing in the law that says I got to take nothing. You can't find it. If you don't believe me, don't take my word. Go research it for yourself. Search the IRS tax code to see if you must earn in order to, you know. Now, let me put this in here for somebody. Must, must, can't get away from it. Well, personally, you can't. If you don't own anything, don't earn it, according to the IRS tax code, this is the only way that you have to pay tax. Earn income, and if you own something under your name, they're gonna chop it. So, but when we start learning in this business, the business is the owner. This is what we call separation. We separate from liability because liability, your money don't move. So the business owns all of the assets. Different than the labor. When you own it, it's a liability. When the business owns it, because it earned money for the business. When you start studying IRS tax code, the tax code is not for the purpose. It's not. Never has. Since they created it, it has never been for the devil. The tax code is set up for the rich. If you guys haven't learned or heard of it, always heard big argument between Democrats and Republicans. Yes, the Democrats are always harping and crying about wealthy people pay their fair share. And wealthy people think you don't have to. Why? Because the tax code says I don't. Now, if you guys put your hand on that, one, that you for certain energy. A lot of us never knew about it because we never knew. Then didn't have to own it. Parents told you, put your name on this property. Because you miss one thing, they're going to remind you who really owns it. Miss some payments on that car. You're going to find out who's the real owner. Miss some payments on your mortgage. You're going to find out who's owner. Even if you pay your house off, miss paying that property, you're going to find out who's owner. Not owner. They don't care nothing about how much money, how long you been in. Why? Nope. Most people don't even know, and still talking about knowledge. And the knowledge is free. It's never anybody here read it. This is why it sounds so fantastic when people like myself or other people put this information out that you can write your birthday on your tax. You can write your vacation. Think how many things that you have been working on. And you never wrote off your vacation. You never wrote off your birthday. The doctor give you a day off. But but you didn't know that you could write. You could throw the biggest birthday bash ever. The biggest alcohol, food, DJ, period. What? You could throw the biggest bash ever. You can literally write it home. Now to hear it, all I'm tell you is you can take your entire family to Spain on vacation. Most of us just you just say, I mean, some of us got living like up the whole year. We might go to Israel, or we might go on a 4 day like cruise, and we've been saving up for that for a year. Most of us don't even take the full 10 days vacation. It's not for they take 2 weeks, but you already off. Most of us space out our vacation time around how we trick out. Tell them that, well, holiday coming up on Friday. I'm gonna take a vacation day on Thursday. Then now I'm off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Take off Monday. So I'm just burning vacation day. Be off Friday. No, you're not on. No. Information that you can, it's what separates the rich from information separate fact from information. It's information. Now, granted, some people are not going to tell you the information. Well, most of us ain't not even act because we didn't know it was. So again, when it sounds so fantastic, you're not going to go. Like you can rent your house from yourself. You can rent a house from yourself. That big $51 billion mansion that Jay-Z and Beyonce have out in California, they don't own that. Rock Nation owns that $51 billion. But they can live it. Rock Nation pays the mortgage on that $51 billion. Not Jay-Z. Why? Why is it imperative for the business to own? Because business gets the tax break. So what you do is you rent the house from they rent the house from Rock. Now on paper, it's a rental property. Technically, that's how you set up paperwork. And you pay the mortgage in the form of a rent, but you pay that to the bank, pay that to Rock Nation, that Rock Nation pay the bank. Now Rock Nation is right off the rent and get a tax break. Most of it didn't know. Right. You read the Augusta, you can write that down and look at it. The Augusta rule. If you rent your house out 15 days out of the month, you get a tax. Now, anytime it's a tax deduction, follow me now, but you got to learn how the IRS tax code works. This is one thing that we have to do. We have to read in order to know how this thing works. A tax deduction works is minus or less your earned income. So if you are a multi-billionaire, but your tax deduction and your tax break, if you made $1 billion man, but you got $800,000 in tax deduction and write off, you only pay so 200,000 instead of paying it only $1 million. This is what the Democrats say: pay your fair share. We know you paid $1 billion, but you only pay tax for 200,000. Look at this. Let me show you. Jeff Bezos, second richest man in the world, second richest man in the world, to the tune of $167 billion. So you have to get what Jeff Bezos only earned $300,000 and CEO and tariff. Y'all tell me how that makes. How you the second richest man in the world and you only earn $300,000? That math don't matter. But let me tell you, and then we get ready to cut the thing down. The secret behind that is on paper and on the registration form. Jeff Bezos is not the owner of it. He's the CEO and chairman. We take God. Now, he paid himself a salary. He has to pay himself a salary. Okay. As the chairman. Yeah. That's his choice. But let me show you something else. Elon Musk, the rich man, The richest don't receive a paycheck at all. Remember when I told you that it's nothing in the law that says you have to earn income? Oh, why are you working? And you don't even get paid. It's how the business. Just either us get paid in stock future. Future. Go from day to day. Remember when people were out there tracing Tesla, folks burning up, people not buying, people all so much money that he was on the Doge committee, and then he dropped those because his stock was dropping. So his net worth was dropping because his net worth is connected to the value of the stock. Now, as a stock business owner, my business is not traded on stock. So I'm not worried about it. And you don't have to worry about that. What what I told my clients to do is let this make money. Let this make all. Don't you dare take check out of it. Well, how am I going to buy groceries? How am I going to eat? And how am I going to pay my bill? One, and arguing a bit, I know about other programs, but I showed you how to start turning over your liability to the business, making them happy. So the business pays all the bills. Business contract that we write up with the business and 1099 for 1099 contract. You don't have such thing. Don't let them it's 1099 contract. I contract my service, business, the business that are open. Now, the way my contract is, and you can put that because contract are so you're not cheating anybody. But my contract says I need to be paid X, Y, Z. The business says we can't afford to pay it. And then I contract with, well, here's the business I say. If you guys will pay my expenses every month, I will open up the new service. See how that goes? All the way down to a per diem from RD to 50. Everything. This is how much. This is how much my groceries legal. All right, is turn in invoice to business in turn. Now it becomes a tax write-off and deduction for the business. So the business back. Don't let nobody tell you all that. Hey, they got with the sites out there, making all that money, making them moves, and come on, he ain't gonna pay no taxes. He got hooked up with some kind of work. What? Don't believe that. The tax got to pay. Tax folks just don't think that. So why not let the business do it? This is business. Tax break. Last information. Whatever car, what you make model. If your car is not paid I was just telling another, bro, you need to get rid of that car out of my name. And here we are, going to the month of October. You've been paying on it for years, but switch that over to down into the business. You make these last couple of months, 3 months payment. Now you get that bonus appreciation that whatever the balance is, that's on the value of that. Wow. So, no more payment. He said, what? Yeah, man. On the front, gave me back 100% bonus appreciation. So stop buying the little Mercedes Benz 300 that don't do the requirements to get the 100% on the street. Stop buying the little 230. And then get that paper. All you gotta do is make them payments for the last 3 months of the year. Okay? So now, Joe Biden, the last when he was in office, he had raised on business people. 74. I don't care where you are, worry about you multiply. For all things, 3 months, 3,000 miles, right? So 3,000 miles every 4 months is 12,000. You do the math. 12,000 times 74, and that's it. Oh, you drive. But just do the oil, and you tell me how much money. Now drop that. How much money is it? Somebody believe? So quick. So on pass log on. Calculate. Let me calculate. Oh, right. Yeah. 12,000 miles times 0.74. That's 8,000. 8,000. $880 in oil tax. So if your car not feeding you back, that's $8. Man, Muhammad, man, you lying. That ain't that man, that ain't. The tax code, that's all the proof I need. Don't nobody. Because they're go back and research for yourself. Read the tax code. Most of you W-2 employees are used to write off with them little 2 pair of boots. If that goes through a W-2 employee, 2 pair of boots. 2 pair of boots. That's all you get. I can write my clothes off because a lot of them do conduct business. I got a t-shirt. I got to wear my own merchandise for the people to buy. Why? Cologne. You guys have seen some of my content where I'm out here promoting, advertising, selling the cologne. That's a tax write-off. And I know for a fact, close to $10,000. In my personal, I've been doing this cologne thing for about a year. Some of you didn't even know you. That course ain't done because you're interested in learning more about that course, other people pay for my business and solve it. Because everything I do is attached to a business. I turn everything that I do into a business. This is how I'm able to have it. I turn it into a business. So if I want to make more money, or if I want to go out and buy something, business, that's business. See how that works? You want to buy a house? Create you a property management company. Let the property management buy a house, and then you rent the house from the property management company. The property management company is making money. The mortgage is getting paid. Tax is paid. And guess what? Mortgage. So when you hear everyone talk about you can pay off 30-year mortgage in 12 years, true. That's true. If you're smart with it, you don't get money from it. When you start getting these tax checks back from appreciation right off, when you start, y'all, that person should be working, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, $5,000. That ain't no money. That ain't no money. When do you start getting those things? It's like uh, uh, 10, 15, 7. But anyway, if we get ready to time, when if you smart, take those returns, put all of that back to the payment. Don't keep nothing for yourself, because when you keep it for yourself, it's gonna hit you in the head. You take all of that money, because what you're doing is you're paying them back with their own money, and you still get to live for free. Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago is because Mar-a-Lago is don't Trump. Everybody don't for it. Got expensive out. But Mar-a-Lago is at them. So the question that you should be asking is, how is this man got all of that property down there close to Miami? Expensive as Miami is. Because I live in Florida. I know how expensive it is here. Yeah. How is that property tax exempt? I'm gonna tell you how it's tax exempt. All you gotta do is put you a body on your own property. Now it's something cemetery or tax exempt. Now, what's gonna happen? He dead. They can't do nothing. But that huge estate, all of that, under normal circumstances, he had that huge property. But by his body, which is his birthright, oh, that means it's all. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is just a little glimpse in, on what we do here. But this is how, what if, that's the way we really, we, we got to start learning how to put the knowledge to work. Because your boss never paid you enough money. And if we don't start utilizing it, playing, not trying to cheat them, not trying to change them, we need to learn how to play the make. He don't found it. After he had talked to the right people, and he found out that the world was going to end anyway. You can't stop the ending. This he just laid back in the back, gave himself over because he knew that all of this fight back and forth about what's fair, what's not fair, they don't have. You can't. They have never. I don't care who argues about what's fair, what rich people need to do, how they did, how poor people need to get this, and how none, because tax law. That's one thing in the whole entire government that has never changed. IRS. Now they keep going up in the Federal Reserve. Now they keep raising taxes, but the game of how to play with is the IRS tax code is not changing. Anybody ever got why? Cost of living going up. So tax going up. What you gonna do? Stop it? No. A W-2 back so I can cover the cost of all these increases. Whether people come up with a product to sell the corporate, they cover that. This is why y'all listen. I give you the information that you need to be a little bit more successful. Anytime we do, I take my country, I give it back all. You don't want to take it. That's not gatekeeping. That's not. I give you enough to where you should go read it because that's what I'll see y'all next. Man, peace out.